One. Hello and welcome and happy Martin Luther King Day. This is Soroya Van Horn, your conductor. And today we are using this platform to highlight the business owners, the entrepreneurs, the GovCon investors, the motivators, the innovators, the teachers, the preachers, and let's not forget those disruptors, those that are shaking things up, all in the name of business ownership. We are excited to join you here this Martin Luther King Day and celebration. And Martin Luther King had a dream, and guess what? We do too. We're using this platform today to highlight our local business owner, Jason Boyd, who will share with us all of the challenges and benefits in dating, single, or married, and still being a business owner. Jason is an author. The name of his book is The Reason Why Relationships Suck, but Dating is Worse. I've got some of my friends and family here to join as panelists as we dive into the challenges of dating. Again, single, married, or the above. Again, having that ideal relationship and still being business owners. Again, we use this platform to highlight those business owners, and we just want to bring you the best of the best. So today, and starting off the new year in 24, we want your business to be right, and we want you to have also rich relationships. So let me share a little bit about our guest tonight that we're shining the light on, and none other than Jason Boyd. He was born in Detroit on February the 14th. He moved to Milwaukee and lived his life there. In his adult life, he spent years working in the Indianapolis school systems as a substitute teacher, a tutor, a mentor, a varsity football and volleyball coach, as well as a parent liaison. Working with children in different aspects allowed him to get better understanding of the kids and the issues that they face. This enlightenment was why he chose to become a parent liaison because he wanted more access to the children's families. As working in depth with the children and their families, he started to notice two things. First, that most of the issues in the home seemed to stem from the parents' relationship. And secondly, most of the homes were run by single moms. Jason Boyd, let's see, we're going to bring him to the stage. Welcome, Coach Boyd.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are very excited. Again, I've got my homegirl, Miss Sandra from St. Louis, East St. Louis. Welcome, Sandra.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. And then my cousin, all the way from H Town.
All right.
What up?
Yes,
He-
All
sir.
good.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
It's cold down here for a change.
well, we're all snuggled up here, sis. So you don't want any parts of this up here.
It's bad right now. It's 20, what is it? 26
Awesome,
degrees right
awesome.
now. That's bad.
Yes, it is. So again, we are live here with our Facebook fam. So again, let's just act like we are sitting in the living room. You grab your tea or your hot chocolate for the night, and we're gonna dive in with our coach. There you go, Coach Boyd. I am so excited that you had time to fit me into your busy schedule here at the top of the year, and we just want to use this again to set the tone,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
our business owners. Relationships are tough enough as it is, and then we're going to add some business onto that. How about that?
Indeed. Indeed. Yes, ma'am.
We're putting
Yes,
some
ma'am.
logs on the fire for sure. In your book, which I was so excited to get a copy of it and to dive into it, and you talk about from birth. We are thrust into relationships and how we had no choice in the relationships that we were born into. But those relationships help to shape our world. And then the choices we make after that are all up to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk about it for a minute.
Well, when you're a child, you're pretty much at the mercy of your, well, I don't want to say mercy, but you're under the care of your parents. Um, so a lot of our relationships early in life aren't our own. They're determined by where we live, what school we attend, churches, neighborhoods, and things of that nature. And that's not our decision. So we have to make friends or learn how to make friends pretty much on the fly, depending on our mother's and father's lifestyle.
Mhm.
So, but as we get older, um, and we become young adults and enter college and things like that, then we start to decide what lane we're going to move in, where we're going to be, and that will determine the type of relationships that we have.
Absolutely, absolutely. You later go on to add on to that to say that even our friends help determine our mates and vice versa.
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. The type of people that you hang with, they say, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Hmm.
So the type of people that you gravitate to, the type of things that they like and that you like, will play a huge part in the type of person that you pick as far as a mate.
Awesome. Well, your book is, first of all, such a catchy title, The Reasons Why Relationships Suck. You're so positive on us, right? you're, st- you're
Try to
starting
keep it real. I
with the
try to
end
keep it
in
completely
mind.
real. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a reason why you started so positively on this one?
Um, just keeping it real. Just letting people know off gate that I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, not trying to kumbaya. I know it's hard out here.
Hmm.
It is extremely hard out here, and it's getting tougher by the day. When I first started the book, there wasn't as big of a social media presence, so that wasn't the initial title. But as I start to delve more into it and start to finish the book, and social media became such a platform,
Hmm.
and I saw so many people just having a tough time of it. That's pretty much how it came out.
Cool. Fantastic, fantastic. So let's jump in and talk about our ladies and some of the things that we should be looking for when we're seeking our mate, our future, and things of that nature. So, what are some of the things that you've seen? I'll say the challenges. So, some of the things that women have done that you would say maybe need a little adjusting or correcting when they're looking to choose their mate.
I think the biggest thing is knowledge of self.
Hmm.
You've got to know who you are and what exactly are you looking for at
Hmm.
that stage in your life. And it's going to change and it's going to evolve depending on your age, economic background, things of that nature. But at the moment that you're trying to choose, you've got to know you.
Hmm.
I think one of the biggest problems is my sisters haven't, and I won't even say the sisters, but a lot of people haven't healed from a lot of childhood traumas. And as you're choosing, you haven't done the work to heal. So
Hmm.
how you're choosing can be very askew, and you're choosing for superficial things or you're choosing for that moment, and you're not really delving into your own hurt, your own trauma. And in that, a lot of people haven't done or don't know how to do the research on somebody that they're even trying to choose. A
Hmm.
lot of times they just choose because they like how they look, or they think they have some money, or they like the circle that they hang with, or the most important or the biggest one is the potential.
Hmm.
And I hear a lot of sisters say that they pick men on potential,
Hmm.
and that's fine. But a lot of unless you're good at bringing the potential out of someone, that's
Hmm.
not necessarily something that you should choose on. So if you haven't brought the potential out of somebody to fruition, just choosing on their potential, they may have great potential, but you don't know how to get the best out of them. That takes a phenomenal coach. So a lot of times people don't have that in them to even bring that aspect out of that person. So a lot of time, really, it just comes down to knowledge of self, knowing who
Awesome.
you are and what it is that you're looking for at that time.
Hmm. So, given that, um, in what you just said, would you suggest a relationship coach when and at what game? If yes, at what part of the journey?
A relationship coach, honestly, your relationship coach should really be your parents. It should
Hmm.
really be family members. It should be people who have uh, a stake in you, people who have watched you grown and who know you personally and intimately, so they can give you the best advice. I mean, having a relationship coach is fine and that's cool, but you really want, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a person. It takes a village to raise a couple. So you really want to have the people who have grown with you and who know you, that you can confide in, that you can call on a daily basis or whenever it is that you need to get this input, as well as people who are a working model, something that you can pattern or model your relationship or the things that you want in your relationship after. So that's what I would say. If it's a relationship coach, it should be someone that you have seen have good relationships, or they have good communication skills, or they have a certain air or energy about themselves that uh,
hmm
you can draw from.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I agree with that. It's the personality of the person that you're reaching out to. They need to be on a same or similar level as yourself. Now, it may not be a family member,
Mhm.
because all families are different, but it should be someone that you are striving to not necessarily be like, but you can grow with, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
and relationships are a two-way street.
Yes, ma'am.
It takes, like you said, it takes a village, and
Mhm.
that other person, as far as trying to bring the potential out, that could be a lot of work for a relationship. And I think that's something that takes time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the potential you see in that person may not be what they see in themselves.
Right.
Just
Mhm.
because you
That's
think
very
a
true.
certain way about this person, that might not be something that they strive for. They may be a phenomenal artist, and you say, "Oh, you should make a living doing marketing, this and that." They may not want that just because they have these attributes or have these skills. That may not be something that they're actually thinking about or something that they gravitate to be. So now, a lot of times, you'll find somebody almost forcing this on them just because they see what they think is the potential, or they like these attributes in this person, and they think, oh, you can monetize this, and that person really has no desire to do so at that
Right.
time, maybe
Right.
later on down the line.
Maybe later on down the line, and then that person may feel as though you're trying to control them, so
Absolutely.
then that would be a pushback,
Absolutely.
so you have to be
Absolutely.
careful about how you cross that potential bridge, and
Absolutely.
I believe a relationship is all about growing together, and there's always room for a person to learn and to grow.
Oh,
So it's not like, okay, this is day one, this is, or even this is day two or day 50, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, that's not it. I mean, it has to be a two-way street, and the other person has to be receiving and yet giving at the same time.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's what it is that I've learned. It's about balance,
Balance.
and it's
Good word.
always going to be, and it's never a perfect balance. Um, it's always 100%, but someone might be at 70, the other person's at 30, but then tomorrow you're at 75 and they're at 25. But in that, there's still a balance. And a lot of people don't really understand that balance because a lot of us haven't had that in our lives. I think
Right.
a lot of relationships aren't going that well, or a lot of people don't know how to choose because they've not seen very many successful relationships.
hmm hmm
Mhm.
That's true.
Yep,
That's
and
true.
that goes back to what you were saying in the beginning. You grow up in a situation that you have no control over, and
hmm
then you expect to win on the other side. So that's where I was
Absolutely.
getting to.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
So you also claim in later on in the book is that women should be the one that ultimately makes the choice of who they're choosing versus women waiting on a man to select them. So tell me how.
Well, dating revolves around men's pursuit of women.
Mhm.
That's just how it goes. Women have value just from being a woman.
Mhm.
As you grow up, little girls or whatnot, you have that value already. Men get value from the things that we accomplish, from the things that we do, from who we are, from going through certain obstacles or whatnot. Like, say, for instance, if you see a woman who has, and everybody says she has a nice body,
Mhm.
she might have, developed breast or developed butt in nice shape or whatnot. And that's something that a lot of times that women are born with. If you hear women say a man's got a nice body, 9.5 times out of 10, he works out.
hmm
Mhm.
He has to gain that. That's something that he has to consciously go after. So
hmm
it's a little bit different. So all dating really revolves around men's pursuit of women. So in that, that puts as far as the dating process, that puts a lot of women in the driver's seat.
Mhm.
So if you have that much power and you are the person that people are choosing, now you have to be you have to have a very keen eye and a lot of discernment of who you're going to allow in your circle, who you're going to allow to share energy with.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
How you feel about that, Houston? Don't get quiet on me now.
Say
You're
something, bro.
really, I don't necessarily think that women have the total control as far as choosing altogether. I mean, I think we have a choice in it as well because, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for certain traits, certain things in a woman uh, that there are things that I won't put up with. And I'm sure there's things that she won't put up with, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be as choicey as she is, if not even more. So it just depends. I mean, everybody's different, and we all have to be willing to be on the same page, uh, have the same goals or same similarities or same likes, dislikes. Um, it just all depends. I mean, it all has to work out because sometimes you can start out talking to somebody and you think it's right, and then you find out it's not. So then we decide to move on.
Right.
So
Oh,
it all
absolutely.
depends.
But
It depends.
I guess I was saying as far as the beginning of it, most of the time men are in pursuit of women. That's usually
Right.
how dating goes. We ask the woman out, or we see somebody that we like, and you're absolutely correct. You might see somebody that asks you out, or you might ask somebody out or talk to them, and you find some things in them where it's like, ugh, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? So you move
Mm-hmm.
on, but as far as the foundation of it, as far as the beginning of it, it's usually based around us pursuing women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. We have that choice and that value and not utilizing that. Talk a little bit more how you feel, Jason, that women are not standing in their power, understanding the value that we bring to the table.
Um,
How are we
a lot
faltering
of
in that area?
times, a lot of women, I think a lot of my sisters don't necessarily have a working example to understand the type of power that they have. So now it comes down to superficial things. A lot of women don't understand how, like, I believe that the foundation of positive feminine energy is patience.
Mhm.
That's
Ooh,
the
you don't think women have patience? Oh my gosh. I think I have so much patience.
See how you jumped in there right there? But yes,
Hey,
indeed. Yes, ma'am.
okay. So that means
to
I don't
not let
have
to not
patience.
let me get all of it out. See how you jumped in there right quick? So yes, ma'am. I completely concur. Yes, ma'am.
Sandra, wait a minute.
Sorry.
One for the other side.
Okay. It's like, hold up.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, a lot of the patience, and that's what men look for in women, because for a man, honestly, for most men, the first love of our life is our mom.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear a lot of sisters say, I don't want to be his mom and this and that. It's not that you're being his mother, but these are the attributes that we look for, that we adhere to, that we put on a pedestal. Those were our first teachers. That was how we learned so many things. And we look for that in women, just that patience to be able to let me get what I want across out, to help me even get my thoughts out or whatnot. As men, a lot of us aren't the greatest communicators in the world. So a lot of women end up jumping the gun on us and trying to do too much. And we're like, wait a minute, just give me a second. Let me get this out. I don't do this all the time. Women are constantly talking to each other. Men don't necessarily talk. We're more action than talking. So when they say a woman is supposed to be our peace, a lot of that comes from that being able to be patient. So
Mhm.
that's what we look for in a lot of women. But a lot of women, and I don't fault the women, a lot of women have so much heaped upon them, and there's so many things going on in their lives. A lot of times they're moving quick and they don't have the patience to really nurture us like we would like to be nurtured.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you started off talking about a woman bringing out the potential in a man if he's open and willing to that. And one of the questions in the book was, why do I have to raise a man? So again, that balance of, making your king feel as such, and then you get into a situation of pampering or over nurturing a situation where you feel like this man is now a, second or third child in the family. What happens there? How does that happen, Jason?
Honestly, she don't know what she's doing. You can spoil a man. Um, there's a difference between bringing out his best features and overdoing it by spoiling him. A lot of women, it's almost like you try to raise a child. If he doesn't do it fast enough, then you do it for him. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, now we'll just sit back and be like, and just let you do it. So at that point, you end up doing too much. He hasn't learned exactly how you like it to be done, or doesn't even feel strong within himself to know that I can do it in this way. Women end up taking too much responsibility or too much control and try to overdo it or whatnot. And a lot of women say that they don't want to raise a man, but at the same time, they don't want a man that comes to her ready made or set in his ways. So it's not that you're raising him, but you do want a man that still has a lot of leeway to learn you. Because if he doesn't, then basically when you get a man, he's going to treat you the same way that he learned from previous relationships. So you want to be able to pour into him the things that you like or don't. So it's not so much that you're raising him, but you want him to have enough space in him that he can still learn you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want him to come too ready made. At that point, you get what you get.
And that sounds like you're saying too that the female should be the aggressor.
No,
That's how I'm interpreting that.
no,
Okay.
no. It's not an aggressive thing. It's still a teaching thing. If I come to you, even as a man, but as a man, you're going to have to learn the things that he likes. You're going to have to learn the things that he'll put up with or he doesn't put up with. So it's still a learning process. She just asked me about the sisters, but it's a learning process on both ends.
Okay.
So he doesn't want somebody who comes into his life thinking she knows everything and how to do this or whatnot. He might not like his bread toasted. He might not like you being overly aggressive sexually or whatnot. He might not like. So you've got to learn how to be able to see the things that he likes and be able to give and take as far as your personality or even the dynamic of this relationship. So it goes both ways. She just asked me about women at that point, but it really goes both ways.
Okay. I agree. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So H-Town, are you being spoiled down there? Talk about it for sure.
I don't know if we want to talk about that.
We're not breaking up happy homes, that's for sure.
Not at all.
Keep on keeping on.
No, I don't know about the being spoiled part yet, but we'll see.
Awesome.
And like I say, time will tell, right? But there's a give and a take in relationships. I think we both try to work towards a balance and make it work. And then we both have to be on the same page as far as wanting it to work as well. Because, when I was married, it's like I used to tell younger kids or young people who are getting married, when you get married, that eventually on one day, one of y'all going to get mad enough to want to quit. Mm-hmm. Just the great thing about it is both of y'all don't want to quit at the same time, same day, same time, same second, same hour. You don't, that shouldn't happen, but it happens every night. But you have to be willing to make it work no matter what. So you have to find somebody who's equally yoked, on the same page with you. Somebody who wants some of the same things you want and want to make something last. That's the most important thing. You gotta want to make it last. Because if you don't want to make it last, trust me, it's not going to last.
Right. Because it's no fun going into a relationship and there's only one person that's doing all the work for the relationship. Right. It has to be like a two-way street. Both people have to be willing.
Awesome. So, Coach, let's dive into that. And one of the questions we had was, how's a man supposed to treat his wife? Or to love his wife? What would be your answer on that one?
Everybody's different. Every woman is different. I don't think there's an across the board way to love people, but at the same time, you have to be able to listen. You have to be able to understand what you're dealing with. A lot of times people rush into things and they haven't done the research. I think that's probably the biggest problem that we have is most people do not do the research.
Mm-hmm.
It's a microwave work. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, finish up. I'm sorry.
I don't think that people actually like there's a difference between courting and dating.
Mm-hmm.
People always talk about courting. I want to be courted. I don't think a lot of people really understand what courting is. When you court somebody as a man, when you're courting a woman, you're courting her family. So that's what courting was. So at this time and point, the family gets to know him and they get to see what type of man he is. But even more importantly, he gets to see the family. He gets to see where she comes from, what's her counsel like. He gets to see her mother. He gets to see her aunties and her brothers and whatnot. So he gets a peek into her life, and that will help him see what he may be getting down the road. So that's what courting is. It's intentional. You have to do the work. Most people don't do the work. A lot of people will get together, get married or whatnot, and he ain't never met his mom. She ain't never met his dad. You don't know these people like that. So now all of a sudden, when you join families and all these people start to come out the woodwork and everybody got an opinion about something, now everything's kind of crazy, but you haven't done the research. Mm-hmm. So it's important, it's imperative to do. People will research a car more than they'll research their mate.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? They'll look at the blue book on that and what's the value on that and what's the Carfax on it and has it been through this, but they haven't done that same type of research on somebody that they're talking about they'll spend the rest of their life with, that they'll have children with, which is the biggest thing that you can possibly do in the world. They don't do the research. Everybody's just hooking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I agree with you there because, I mean, some of the things that I think that we miss that are important is what's your history? What's my history?
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle certain situations? What's your credit like? What's your bank account like? You know, what do you spend stuff? What do you spend your money on? What do you spend your time on? What do you really like? How are your family, your parents? You know, I remember when I was dating a long time ago, I'd always want to meet my girlfriend's parents.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what she's gonna look like down the road.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
never know. I'm telling you, you never know.
Uh-huh.
And
Look, I'll say this. I know people right now who are dealing with sickle cell just because the two people didn't communicate as far as having the sickle cell trait.
Right.
So now they bring a child into the world who is going through so much because they didn't have the discussion.
Right. Yeah.
So it's imperative that you do the research and that you talk and you get to know somebody on a more intimate level than just sex or, you know, how much money do you have? It's so much more. And that's the courting process. But right now, everybody just dates with no real intention. They just do it off of if I like you or not and trying to see what this does, where this goes, but they're not really being intentional. And it's hard now because people date so many people at the same time or over the course of a month or a year or whatnot. It's hard to bring all these people to the picnic. It's hard to bring all these people in your child's life or whatnot. That's not fair. So that's why you have to be intentional about it.
So what do you think about courting or dating without the intention of marriage? What are your thoughts about that?
You get what you put into it. You get what you put into it. I mean, that's fine when you're younger, but as you get older, I'll say it like this: you are what you practice. You are what you practice. So I don't like to put too much on the sisters, but that's really on y'all.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, you shouldn't be dating a lot of men or whatnot. As far as men go, we're just trying to figure out some things or whatnot. We expect the women to be the holders of, okay, knowing that maybe not so much. okay, I'll deal with this one. If y'all
Mhm.
start dating like we date, then it becomes kind of free for all. And that's where it's kind of going right now. Nobody's the foundation. Nobody's the anchor. Somebody's got to be that one where it's like, okay, she's not out here bad. That's what actually raises your level of somebody you will want to be with. Men don't like women who've been out here with a whole bunch of different men or whatnot. That drives your value down as far as men see it. So women have to be a lot more intentional than the men. The women actually will make us be more intentional. But as for
Okay.
men, I mean, we rent women. We don't really, it's not, that's why there's strip clubs. That's why you can go to every major city and there's a strip club. It's not a male strip club, it's a female strip club. That's just kind of how it is. And a lot of women say it's not fair, but there is no such thing as fair. That's just life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, hashtag. So H-Town, you brought up some good points when we talked about researching and things of that nature. Is from a mature standpoint, asking the right questions, making sure you're looking into the credit and digging into that family as much as you can at that stage and age of the game. So those were good points to think about. So one of the things in questions in your book too, Coach, was that women are feeling that why do men play so many games? And I think that kind of piggybacks off of where you were leading to. And you want to talk about that a little bit? Why men are seen as playing games?
It's not, we're exercising our options. You know what I'm saying? As a man, to get into a full-fledged relationship is we kind of lose things. We lose freedom. We lose money. That's a big thing for us to get into a full-time relationship because there's so much. If you look at dating, every level that it goes up from just seeing each other to dating to getting engaged to getting married, it's more responsibility on us.
Mm-hmm.
Women gang, we lose a little bit every time it goes up a level, we're being looked at and scrutinized a little bit more.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for us, it's not something that we strive to do every day. That's why we look for that one special one.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we still kind of rent women.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Women are more of a novelty. It's way more of you guys than it is of us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we don't look at women as, especially when we're younger, we don't look at women as the key to happiness. It's more of, it's something to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving right along, ladies. We are here with Coach Jason Boyd, the author of The Reason Why Relationships Suck, but Dating is Worse. So, as this is all about those dating or relationships and married and in business. So, we're going to throw that dynamic of being in business in the game. And one of the challenges, especially as a woman, is maybe if the woman is a business owner and the husband is. Or date is supporting that woman, there comes jealousy that comes into that. And how do you, maybe combat some of that happens in a relationship? And it can be either way, honestly, but talk about that a little bit as it relates to jealousy in relationships.
Um, that's a little bit tougher because if you've already been in a relationship, then all of a sudden someone wants to start a business. That's a whole different dynamic. Uh, and it depends on what type of business you're doing, but business is war. When you're in business, you're out there in the trenches going hard with somebody. Bless you, sister.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And if a sister starts to get into business and business is war, it's easy for her to become kind of hard. It's easy for her to start to take on more masculine features and more masculine tendencies to be out there combating everything that you have to do. Because when you go into business, it's still a man's world. So usually when you're going to business, you're going to deal with men on certain levels or whatnot. So as a woman, when you're going out there, now you're dealing with men, and then you have to come home to your man. So to go out and do battle and then come home and be this feminine woman, a lot of times that doesn't really go all the time. So even getting into that business has to be a conversation. It has to be both parties involved that really understand what we're embarking on, and I'm going to help you be this and this. And then there's a lot of inclusion that has to happen. You have to be completely transparent with this person so you don't develop that jealousy with this person. A lot of times in business, you might do a lot of things that he doesn't know about or she doesn't know about. And now it seems like you're keeping secrets. And it was like, well, I just really didn't have time to tell you about what I had to do over here and how this had to be and who this person is because you're moving so fast or whatnot. And that in itself can invoke a bit of jealousy.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Now you have a life separate from ours. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't necessarily feel real, especially for me and for a lot of women, that doesn't feel well because I'm not included. So now you can very easily leave me. You can very easily dominion or take away from what I bring to the table for you because now you're in this whole other lifestyle and these other people are bringing different things to the table for you that don't involve me. This is very easy to become jealous of that. And to feel that you're just being taken for granted or you're not being a part of the mechanism.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. That was good to say that, you know, business, you're putting it in the same vein as war. And that's a good way of seeing that and how you can turn it on and off when you know, come home or not, or how that relationship goes and grows, because that's the challenge right now. We want everyone to have a prosperous business moving out and then to have those relationships. So what are some of the things that you would suggest as far as ensuring that your relationship is yoked up, however, you know, a couple defines it, but what are some of the tips that you would suggest for couples, you know, keeping it together?
Once again, it depends on the dynamic of the couple. It depends on what type of relationship that you're getting into, but you have to make this person feel involved. You have to make this person feel like their input matters and how they feel about that matters. When you become a boss, you really become a servant to everybody else. That's like the main attribute of being a boss. If you're a boss, you have to make sure everybody else feels good. That's it. If they don't, then it doesn't run very well. And that's why a lot of people aren't good bosses. They just want to be in charge. They don't want the responsibility.
Right.
When you're a boss, you're basically subservient to your workers. So now if you're taking on the moniker of being a boss, you have to make sure all your workers are feeling good about doing the work. And you have to be inclusive, especially if you're in a relationship. So the biggest thing is probably being inclusive and trying to be as transparent as you can possibly be.
Awesome. So you had made a analogy about when we go back to research, if you're a boss and you're doing research or interviewing employees, you go through, you know, background checks and the whole nine to make sure that you're bringing on the right person. But
yes,
you
ma'am.
tend to shortcut when you're into relationships. You don't go into that depth, and then you possibly suffer on the tail end of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't do the research because they don't want somebody researching them. It's a lot of skeletons in that closet that folks don't necessarily want to come out. So it's like, hey, don't ask, don't tell. So we just
really
gonna deal with this, how this goes.
Does that really happen?
That happens a lot. That happens a lot. A lot of people don't want people digging too hard into their lives because there's a lot of things that they're not proud of, that they've done or been a part of. And somebody digs too deep, there's a little shame going on. So you don't dig too deep, I won't dig too deep. We gonna start from here.
So that's not really being transparent, though. You know what I'm saying? That's like keeping little secrets and skeletons in the closet, I think you mentioned. Yeah. Absolutely.
And they always come out, and they come out at the most inopportune times.
Yes.
They always come out. What's hidden always comes to light at some time and point. And it's usually the most inopportune time. But a lot of people don't look at that because this might be somebody that you didn't even expect to really get this deep with. So now you've been kind of, I don't want to say lying, but you haven't been completely honest with it. Then all of a sudden you look up and, you know, we've been doing this for like a year or whatnot, and this might be the person I want to be with. Now, how do you go back and tell them about the stuff you didn't tell them in the first place? Like, okay, well, remember I told you this and this, I really wasn't truthful. Now you run the risk of that person looking at you a different way.
Well,
So
it could
now, go ahead.
It could be like the meeting of minds. Okay, we've been in this for X number of days or months, and now let's just fess up. Let's just sit down, fess up, and talk about what we haven't talked about. You know, you have to cross that point
Now,
before it gets out of hand.
Now the question becomes, when does that happen,
Right.
and who determines it?
Right.
Because that person might not be ready for that.
Yeah.
Just because you are don't mean that they are.
So that's one of those things where, you know, you have to place that marker on the calendar and say, okay, we've reached this point, so where do we go from here, type of a thing. But you don't think that is reality?
I mean, because it doesn't necessarily go that way. Every relationship has its own life. It's
True.
organic. So you can't just say, okay, 30 days in, I'm going to tell them everything.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it has to be an agreed upon time frame. If we make it to this point, then let's open up. You know,
I don't think I've never heard anybody do that before in my life.
Okay, that's just not going to happen then, huh? Okay.
I'm not saying I've never seen it, because that's not really, because when you go into it, you're still dating, you're still courting, so you don't exactly know how this is going to go, and eventually starts to take on a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest problems in relationships is that somebody usually falls in love first.
Right.
And that makes you the leader. Mm-hmm. When you fall in love first, that makes you the leader by default. Mm-hmm. Because now you have a image in your mind of where this should go. Mm-hmm. So now your job is to convince the other person of how you think, so they can get on the same page with you. But that doesn't happen. It's like when you're dating and you're doing this, and I've been with women, and women say, okay, so aren't you tired of just dating? Aren't you tired of this? And it's like, but we were just doing that yesterday. How all of a sudden today we should be tired of it? Just because you think we should be? Now I should feel the same way just because you say? How does that go exactly? So that's what I mean when you say, well, we have an agreement and it's around the calendar. It's like, just because you feel that way doesn't mean the other person feels that way. And if you feel that way heavy and the other person doesn't feel that way, now they're the bad guy.
Right.
You want to just date forever? We just gonna do this forever? It's like, well, damn, we just been doing this for, you know, X amount of months. Well, I don't do this and this and this. It's like, well, you didn't say that at the beginning. You didn't give me a time limit. I didn't know. So it's a delicate balance. It's a very delicate balance.
That goes back to exercising options. I mean, yeah, it's a balance. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that leads to a part. I actually marked this out, Jason, in your book. You said what may be harder to understand is that the chase is our favorite part of the relationship. And why is that?
It gives us something to do. We know our role when we're chasing, but when we catch you, like I said, every time a relationship goes into a higher level, we lose something. We lose some freedom. We lose some money. We lose different things. So the chase part we like. That's what keeps it exciting. But once we catch you, it's like if a dog chases a car. Like a car might come around the corner every morning at 8:15, and the dog runs out the yard and chases it. He likes chasing the car. It's exercise. It feels good. He has something to look forward to. If he ever caught the car, he don't know exactly what to do with the car.
What you gotta say about it? Yeah, I'm looking at it. Come on.
I'm buzzing up because he's right. You know, but the thing, you know, chasing the car and chasing the woman, that's
come on now, clean it up.
The other part of that is that you have to make sure that you keep it live, you keep it fresh. You have to continue to do the same things or some of the same things to keep it fresh. Because if you don't, then it's on to the next one. It's just
We
that's
get
just the
bored.
way it is. I'm telling
We
you,
get
you
bored.
get bored, and if they don't. I mean, if you don't keep it alive, you know, you start looking another way,
Mm-hmm.
and they look
Absolutely.
at you sideways, and you look at them sideways. Like, I don't know about this.
You're
So
moving on
it
to
is.
other options,
Yeah.
right?
That
Yeah.
happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Truly, it does.
Both ways.
And
Yeah.
see, and if you keep doing that over a course of time, then you are what you practice.
Right.
So, Lord forbid you get into a relationship, you actually have no idea what to do because you spent a lifetime of exercising options.
Right. Right. But okay, speaking of yourself, so are you in a serious relationship or
Not anymore, no ma'am.
okay? So you're in the exercising options phase?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right.
We got the dating game going on here.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I would love to, as the Christians say, find somebody equally yoked. I would love to find my balance. I would love for someone to be able to bring out the best in me, and I can bring out the best in them. But at the same time, this is the only life that you get, and a lot of people are really, taking it as serious as they should or as they need to because they've been in other relationships and they've been this, and so they come in it not healed. I think that's probably the biggest problem that a lot of people are having in relationships is so much unhealed trauma.
It's
Mhm.
true.
And they're looking for someone to almost make them whole or to help them heal, which is above most people's pay grade.
Right.
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 And
So
I'm glad
really, they need to heal themselves before they get there.
That's yeah. That's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
But a lot of times you don't even know that you need to heal as deeply as you need to heal till you get into a relationship. Till somebody loves you, you may not even know how deep your wounds are
Mm-hmm.
because you spent a lifetime, especially for men, we spent a lifetime covering certain things up and and women too, just going through it without actually dealing with it. It's like a lot of people don't have the luxury of healing. Because
And
I gotta work. I gotta make sure the kids are okay. I'm this person. So I don't really have the luxury because when you heal, you don't really know how long it's going to take. And a lot of times you can break all the way down. We're talking about on the floor crying, just don't know how to get up, don't know what to do with yourself. And the older you get, a lot of us don't have that luxury.
That's for sure. One of the things you talk about, Coach, is that you go from a broken relationship, and instead of healing or taking that sabbatical, you jump right into another relationship and try to heal from that, and that's not a good
At
strategy.
all. A lot of people overlap relationships.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when you overlap relationships, the new person that you get is you're only getting them for certain things.
Right.
So you might get them for fun or you get them to take your mind off of stuff and whatnot. Then you look up and you're in a relationship now, but this person is only fun. This person is only there to take your mind off of stuff. And now you need more for them and they're not capable of giving you more.
Right. Right.
Awesome material. Well, I tell you, Coach, it's been an honor to shine the light on you. And we haven't even gotten into kids. We didn't even mention kids this time. So we're going to have to bring you back to talk about kids and blended family and all of that kind of gets in the way of progress and kind of has you on the sideline in those conversations that turn into disagreement. So any last thoughts that you have for us?
I would say that everybody needs somebody. That's why we are here. You absolutely need somebody to go through this world with. Love is phenomenal energy. And in true love is what we search for because true love will make you transcend yourself. That's how you get to the next level. But that true love has to start with self first. You've got to be able to love you. And to be able to love you, a lot of us are dealing with childhood trauma. The biggest thing that stands in our way of healing is being able to forgive.
That's key.
So you have to learn how to forgive, not just move on and say, okay, I forgive that person and don't. You have to absolutely actually be able to talk to this person and forgive this person in order for you to move on. If you can't forgive that person still owns a piece of your soul.
That's key. That's key. Yeah. And we talk about that a lot. The forgiveness is for your healing, not for the other person. So
Absolutely. And I would say this before I go, the part that we didn't touch on, and for me is a lot of our people don't have a good relationship with God. If you don't have a good relationship with God, then everything else is just everything else.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Fantastic. Well, Coach, tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you.
Well, I'm on Facebook. You can look for Jason Boyd. You can go on Instagram and look for Coach Boyd. I'm also a massage therapist. I do holistic healing, Thai yoga. There's a lot of. Also on YouTube under Coach Boyd LLC. That's kind of it.
Okay, awesome. We want to make sure. Any parting questions or anything we want to share with Coach Boyd before we leave? Thank you to my East St. Louis homie and my cousin from H-Town. We appreciate you being brave enough to jump on.
Appreciate you. How you feeling over there, Houston? You good?
I love it, man. Best move I could ever made in life. I am from East Boogie.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I grew up there. That's home. My former home. Man. This is home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
And how you feeling, Miss East St. Louis?
I'm good. Yep, I'm good.
This has been great. I love
Yes,
it.
Man,
we encourage you to.
I appreciate you and all your efforts, and your book seems phenomenal. We need more of that in our community, so keep up the good work, my brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I thank you for being present. And Sister Soroya, I truly do appreciate you for having me on and having this platform. It is beautiful. It was a beautiful experience to share energy with you, as well as Miss East St. Louis and Brother H-Town. So all kudos to you. You did a fantastic job being a facilitator. Keep up the great work.
Awesome. This is all about the Business Underground, and we encourage you to go to Amazon to purchase The Reason Why Relationships Suck, But Dating is Worth by Coach Jason Boyd. Thank you, and Happy New Year to all of you. If you're interested in being highlighted on the Business Underground, we ask that you join us at Gov Ventures. And Jason, before you go with a twist of government contracting, I want you to know that Seven Figures is right around the corner for you as a business and life coach. Opportunities as it relates to helping those couples, helping those enlisted soldiers. Shout out to all of those men and women that help protect us. But those individuals that are coming from war, again, there's a yellow ribbon program where you would fit exceptionally in helping them to reacclimate back to the States, helping them to reacclimate to their families and their kids and things of that nature. So when you're ready for Seven Figures, the federal government is the way to go. So
I absolutely love to have a brother and sister who are both veterans. So absolutely, I would love to.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to help you reach a little higher and so that you can be a blessing to the masses. So
Yes,
again, it's been my pleasure. And thank you for my home folks. And again, this is Soroya Van Horn, the GovCon conductor and the Business Underground. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace.